phone location data, and it showed in certain parts of the country, people are still venturing at least 2 miles away from home, and that was as recent as last week. Do you think Americans are doing enough to defeat this virus?
Yeah, Michael, the answer to that is no. And that data suggests something worse. It's not just that people are traveling, that they're traveling from their community to other communities. And that's a pretty good proxy for them coming into contact with other people. That's the problem. Distance doesn't matter, but when you're close to someone, that's when you start doing what Dr. Jen will tell you, all the things of sharing droplets and all the things that communicate this disease. So people need to get the message, and they need to get it across the country.
And then the former head of the FDA shows so far the U.S. is on a slower trajectory than Spain and also than Italy. But Vice President Pence, he compares the U.S. to Italy, which was totally devastated by the coronavirus. Do the numbers show that we are on that trajectory, that we should be compared to Italy, which was very hard hit?
Yeah, Michael, one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen made through this entire process is data aggregation. If you were to average North Dakota and New York, it would make New York look less, scary, and it would make North Dakota look more scary, and both would be false. So I think it's fair to say Italy is comparing favorably, unfortunately, to Lombardy, Italy. But that doesn't mean that every city in the country will look like Italy with their level of devastation. That's, I think, the mistake that we've seen in that messaging.
Well, unfortunately, is right now. I hope that everybody does heed the warnings to stay apart so we can all be together eventually. Tom Bossert, Jen Ashton, thank you both so much. And now we're going to turn to that cruise ship nightmare. It is finally over for the thousands of stranded passengers and crew. Those two ships stuck at sea finally allowed to dock in Florida. Victor Oquendo is there in Fort Lauderdale with the latest. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Michael. Both Holland America ships docked safely here at Port Everglades. Now those passengers deemed fit for travel will be screened as they disembark and taken straight home, either by car or chartered flight. One step closer to home, but it's not over yet. This morning, these two massive cruise ships are no longer stranded at sea.
I can't believe it. Look at all the people waving flags.
Finally docking in Fort Lauderdale after a nearly month-long ordeal.
We're now back on U.S. soil.
For some, the nightmare isn't over yet. First responders putting on protective gear, rushing those passengers in need of immediate medical care to the hospital. Dozens of others will stay quarantined on board until they've recovered under CDC guidelines. But for the hundreds deemed fit to travel,
we are greatly relieved we got this.
They will finally be allowed to disembark straight from the ships to buses headed for the airport and their flights home.
We've been confined to our room since the 27th. Yeah, I think it's overdue to say it would be great to get home and to be out on land for a change.
More than 300 Americans and 1,000 foreign travelers stuck on those Holland America cruise liners since early March rejected entry from every port along the way to South Florida. At least 4 people on board the Zaandam are dead, more than 250 reporting flu-like symptoms. Florida's governor initially reluctant to let the international passengers on shore, and as negotiations stretched into Thursday, the ships left circling offshore for hours until local officials and the cruise line agreed to a plan to get all the passengers off safely.
They're not going to come in contact with the general public. It's going to be a very controlled exit from these ships.
Charting the course for a long overdue homecoming.
It's so good to be back in the U.S. I haven't felt this way since I got back from Desert Storm.
Now there is still another ship with passengers on board scheduled to arrive here at Port Everglades tomorrow morning, the Coral Princess, and they're now reporting at least 12 positive coronavirus cases on board. Michael?
All right.